Today I'm going to go over some advanced sampling techniques, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a beat from start to finish, but I mainly want to focus on the topic of sampling and using some of the tools that we have in the MPC as we're sampling and building a track. The reason why I wanted to do this video is because this happens to us a lot. It happens to me where I build a 2-bar or 4-bar loop and I just get stuck right there. I don't know where to go after that. Go back to the record and keep digging. Don't just sample the first bar of the song. Like, listen to the middle, the chorus, the bridge, the outro. There's so much little small snippets you could add on to your beat that you've already created. Something real quick, I'm gonna jump into my sampler and go over, most of us are used to just sampling using the sample method and the slice method, but we have forgotten about this pad tap and pad hold, which are very powerful tools. And today I'm gonna jump into utilizing those tools and just let the beat keep going. Don't just let it die off. So let's have some fun. Let's have a good time. Again, for those of you that just picked up the MPC 1 or the MPC X or the MPC Live, and you're new to sampling in these machines, check out this video that I did a while back ago. I go into the basics of sampling. In this video, I'm going to go somewhat fast, and this is going to be for those of you that already kind of have the information but just want to take it a step further. So let's have a good time. Let's jump right into it. All right, so right here I have this record. I'm going to go ahead and listen to this record and grab a small section, sample it into the MPC just using the sample method. I'm not even going to use a slice mode. This is a record that I had a sample in a previous video, but we're going to flip it again. So let's jump right into it. I'm gonna climb. I actually got some stuff right there. I'm going to name this sample. And I'm going to go ahead and chop this up. I'm going to just trim out the first few seconds that I do not want to have. I want this to start right on the downbeat. Actually zoom in right here. Make sure zero snap is on. Process, discard. Now I'm on manual chop mode. I'm going to go ahead and start manually slicing this sample up. I mean, I'm not going to go into detail with this, but I'm going to just... okay, so you guys just saw right there. This is actually... I'm using 2.11. I've been getting so many DMs on this, and I'm actually glad we're going over it. Just really quick, I'm going to run down through this. This, I just hit pad 1, and it just slices up in a random location. I don't know why is slicing up pad 1 in this weird random location. I go to pad 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's throwing all my slices in this same location, which is very weird. I'm not sure what's going on right there, but a workaround that is... Hopefully this can get solved sooner than later, but right now I'm going to delete all those slices. I'm going to clear all. Once I have all those slices cleared up, what I'll do is on the first slice, it just drops it randomly anywhere. And I don't know why, but I'm going to just manually grab this, pull that cue point back to 0, and I'm going to grab this first slice and throw it all the way back to 0. So it's now starting where I want it to start. Once I have that out the way, I can go ahead and do this the way I'm used to doing it. So now I'm going to convert this and it's going to create its own program. Hit do it, go to my main page. Track 1, I'm going to name this sample. I want that to be my sample. And on my program, I'm going to select that program that we just created with those chops, which it was called sample. And now I have that right here. Awesome. Now I'll go to my program editor and I'm going to drop this down about 2 semitones. Let's see how that sounds. Awesome. So now that I have those chops, I'm actually going to load up some drums. Let's call this track number 2 drums. And then on that track number 2, I'm going to go to my program and assign a new program. This is an empty program. There's nothing in this. This is just called 002. I'm going to rename 002 to drums. And as I have that loaded up, I'm going to go into my browser, go to my places, and I'm going to go into my sample pack. If you guys have not tried out my sample pack, make sure you guys go down in the description. I have my sample pack. I'm going to get a few kicks. Load that up right there. Grab a few snares, load those up right there. Awesome, and now we go into some hi-hats. Load those up right there. So we got a little something right there. All right, so at this point, I'm just gonna drop down a drum groove onto the grid, and let's go ahead and rock with this. All right, cool. So we got some drums right there on the grid. And now we go back into our sample and just play with the sample. See what feels right and what we come up with in a 2-bar sequence. All right, so we got something going on right there. It feels right. It's a 2-bar loop. But at this point, what happens to some of us, and this happened to me before, so we just kind of, it stays there. And I'm just like, man, I don't know what direction to go to next. Well, something I would recommend is going back into the record and listening for different parts of this record that you could continue to sample. Again, I only sampled a few seconds. It was just like a bar of the record. And a lot of the times we just listen to the intro, we get excited, we sample the intro, and then we just stop right there. But hey, what about the bridge, the chorus, the outro? There's so many other small seconds in this record that we could continue to add on to this already put together sample program. But what happens with other samplers, and I've noticed this because I've used other samplers, is that I cannot add in put new slices into this already created program, which makes it a little complicated because just to add a different second of the record, I have to go through so many settings and menu diving and all that, and it just kind of kills my vibe. But with the MPC 1, MPC X, or MPC Live, we could simply go back into our sampler, and once we're in our sampler, we're gonna go from sample to pad tap. What pad tap is going to do, pad tap and pad hold are the same thing. I'll explain right now what the difference is. But on pad tap, every time I tap a pad, and right now bank A is all filled up. As we see all the yellow pads, that means that there's audio samples on the yellow pads. But if you see a pad that's not lit up yellow, if these are just black, that means that those are empty pads. Every time I hit a pad, it's going to sample whatever is playing back into that pad that I tapped. Whenever I tap the next pad, it's going to jump into the next pad and sample, and so on, which is very powerful because it's just building into what I've already created. I don't have to go slice it up later, and I don't have to add it to this program later. It does it all for me, and I can just keep getting inspired by different sections and keep building with what I already have. You guys just saw, I just stopped recording. I hit main, I go back to my main page, and now on my main page, I don't have to do anything else. Those new slices are already right here, and they're already pitched down to semitones like I did already to this program. And then we have our other chops that we had done in the very beginning. And now we have the new chops. So at this point, if I want, I can grab that sequence, hit this little pencil icon. I'm going to copy the sequence and paste it to sequence number 2. Now that I'm in sequence number 2, I'm able to select my sample track, go into my grid editor, and select all the performance that I have in the grid editor and delete it. I actually want to come up with a new sequence of sample chops on this sequence number 2, just so I can have sequence number 1 with the way I originally had it, and then it could jump into sequence number 2 with these new additional slices. So you see, that's a whole different vibe right there, and I love that because that actually sounds really good as well. What if I actually just want to stick with that? You kind of have different sequences, and the way I like to treat sequences is kind of like a puzzle. I have sequence 1, sequence 2, sequence 3, and each sequence contains its own ideas, well, my own ideas that I've come up with, and right now that I just came up with this new groove, I actually like how this sounds. Who knows? Maybe this is actually going to be my go-to sequence, and this is going to be my main sequence. And the other sequence that I originally started with might just be a bridge. So this is what I'm talking about, like having fun with your sequences and your sampling. And again, do not stop at the first bar you captured. Continue to sample, continue to listen to others. I mean, if it needs it. Now, if the song is done, it just feels right, and you continue to look for things to add to the song and nothing clicks, that means that the song is done. Just drop it, stop it, mix it, master it, and put it out. But in this case, a lot of the times that we just feel like, man, it's missing some more. I just don't know what else to add. try using that pad tap and pad hold feature and continue to sample different sections. And on this sequence too, we could even take it a little step further to, the drums are just copied and paste, but we don't want the drums to be too repetitive. You could get freaky with it and start adding so many different elements to your drums. But in this case, I'm going to go ahead and just go to my drums, and I believe they're right here. I'm going to grab this hi-hat. I'm going to go to note repeat onto 1/32, and I'm going to drop this on top of what we already have. Once we have that rolling on 2.11, we have this new feature. Let's go from velocity, and I'm going to go into probability. Open up my little automation window. Grab this little pencil tool, and let's just bring this down. Yeah. At about 50% probability. Yeah, it's kind of adding like a swing to this performance now. And what I could even do is go to this hi-hat right here, go into my inserts, just on the hi-hat, not on the whole entire program. I'm going to put a low-pass filter on that second hi-hat that I added right now. Go to the EQs and filters, go to a low-pass filter, hit select, open that up, and let's just... Yeah. Now, that sounds really good. I love how that's sounding. Again, the creativity is up to you, however you want to add, switch up your drums, but just kind of keep the flow going, keep the vibe going. Like that's what it's about. When I'm making beats, I love feeling that, that build up. I love feeling like, man, I'm going from here to there, to there, to there. But again, it happens to me, and it's happened, many times where I build a song and I'm just done. And I'm just like, man, I'm so stuck. I'm blocked mentally. Like, I do not know where else to take it. In this beat, we just build it, and I'm kind of going with you as we're building it together, and I'm vibing with this, and I'm loving where it's going. Now, if you're at this point and you already built sequence 1, sequence 2, and sequence 3, and you have a bunch of sequences together, and you're ready to put these sequences together in a song, make sure you check out this video. I'm going to leave right here. In this video, I go over how to build your song in song mode, and you can start putting all this together and actually finishing a beat in the MPC. So make sure you jump into that video, and I'll catch you right there.